Well, hello, hello, hello. How is that for a first period? My name is Graham Mosimann, live here on Game Over Edmonton from Atlas Steak and Fish inside the Grand Villa Casino. Now, we are set up here. It is a beautiful night, apparently. So if you have any thoughts or feelings or emotions you want to get through, let us know as many of your comments as we possibly can. That was a absolutely fascinating period from the Edmonton Oilers, and it was very, I don't want to call it methodical, but it definitely wasn't the crazy sort of spice that we maybe had thought it was going to end up being. So one of the things that I really wanted to okay, let's see how that goes. Is that it? Is that the one? It looks like we may finally have it here, as we have been fighting through just a mess of technical difficulties trying to get this show officially on the road, live from Grand Villa Casino and live from Atlas Steak and Fish here on the Game Over Network. I'm Graham Mosimann. One of the things that we really started to see at the end was that kind of spiciness that we were expecting that really was going to carry over from the last one. It took longer than I thought it would take for us to get there to that level of spice, but once we were there, oh boy, watch out. And when the Dallas Stars gave in 2 goals within the space of 36 seconds, excuse me, Dallas, you can't do that, guys. That is not a thing you can do if you want to be successful on this team. The Oilers, really smart, not getting themselves into penalty trouble, and Stuart Skinner standing absolutely tall like you always start to see him do during the mid to late parts of a series. Would love to get your thoughts here in the chat on how things are going, what you're feeling going into this intermission here. I was really pleased to see what a nuisance Kasperi Kapanen really was throughout this time. He was using his speed to just get around the ice and then shut down and stop where he wanted to, and was really making the most of his time on ice, which you absolutely love to see. You can't complain about any of that, and it sets up the Oilers really, really nicely. Now, that first goal, my goodness, has it been rewarding and wonderful to see our sweet baby boy Nuge fire himself back up and get kicking once again. Because let's face it, he was kind of quiet this offense this year so far, and not just in the whole regular season, but with the playoffs up to this point, we haven't really seen the Ryan Nugent-Hopkins that we wanted to, and we hoped we would. Now, one of the ways that you kind of get around that, I think, is by making sure he's best positioned he can be to succeed. And I'd argue there's been at times where that just hasn't happened for the Oilers so far. So hey, if you are here to join us as we've gone through some kerfuffles and foibles on the technical side of things, very excited to have you here with us on Game Over Edmonton. As not entirely certain if we're going to see our pal Avry in this one, as he of course has a whole lot of things to dive into on his side over at Rogers, doing his big fancy job. What a silly guy being employed, whatever. Crazy pants. I want to shout out the folks here at Atlas Steak and Fish inside the Grand Villa Casino, because we have had we figure it out. You start to do a live show in a new location, things change, they get moved around, they move and shuffle a little bit, and you kind of do your best to work with that and power through. So I want to thank all the staff here for kind of getting us well set, giving us a space to kind of do this show. And if you need a space, you want to have like a nice, very fancy meal, you can take a look at their incredible wine list. We're set up here in their grand dining room, which is just jaw-droppingly gorgeous. That is something you should really come check out too, because it is available for rentals if you want to come take a look and see. If we take a look here on how things are going, I really had a nice. The Oilers Twitter is being very kind to Evan Bouchard, which is really, really nice to see, because there was definitely a point in time where that man was ready to be lit on fire by this particular fan base, and he's he's really kind of pulled himself together in the last few rounds. And I mean, there was a point in time where you could, probably argue that Evan Bouchard, was costing himself millions upon millions upon millions of dollars for his next contract, and he's starting to earn that back as we see him put another marquee performance after another marquee performance here from Ice District. And George the Rock had a quote that was circulating this morning that I think kind of really showcases why it's so important for this Oilers team to perform and be on the road here, or on in Edmonton to perform well. It's that if I could bottle the feeling of scoring a playoff goal in Edmonton, that would be the feeling that would be waiting for me in the afterlife, because that's what heaven feels like. And especially when you saw Connor McDavid take that pass, and you knew the second you had that kind of 3-on-1 setup that either way it was probably always going to end up at Connor, and it was going to go in the net. It is hard not to be overjoyed for that guy, because you can just tell he's feeling it. It's cooking. And I gotta say, man, poor Cody Ceci, as he moves himself, or I guess doesn't play up to that contract and gets himself traded off to San Jose. We see him now ending up with the Dallas Stars and playing in a role that you and I as Oilers fans are keenly familiar with, that he is not equipped to play. And when you have Cody Ceci defending Zach Hyman, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and Connor McDavid at the exact same time, what is that poor man supposed to do? He's boned. Nothing good's going to happen for him. Poor Cody Ceci. Is Hugo Ceci happy? Is that that's the really important thing here? As we break down that first period on a game over Edmonton, live from Atlas Steak and Fish inside the Grand Villa Casino. As we kind of take a look here through just like a quick scan of Oilers Twitter, Dallas gets real bummed on that call at the end of the last game with the Darnell Nurse slash. That you could argue that could have been a 4-minute penalty. But it really looks like Dallas is playing really tentative right now. And if the Oilers end up winning this one here, and there's a long way to go, this team has proven they are not good at playing 60-minute hockey, that they will be able to they will be able to put something really, really special together. And geez, when you look at the Florida Panthers too, as they are down now one win away from cementing their third Stanley Cup final in a row. How is that? That's baffling and upsetting to think about all at the same time. Our sweet lads, our sweet Oily boys, well-deserved break at the moment. I want to pop into my Twitter DMs. We have a couple questions here. First one coming in from Kyla. Hey, Graham, what do you think the Oilers have to do? Do you have to score more or start to lock it down defensively? And I am very much going to go on the side of they need to keep scoring, because this team, when they do try to lock it down defensively and things get a little wonky, you see how upset Connor McDavid gets when people ask him about the defense. Why don't we just not do that and not avoid it? You know what? Why even play hockey at this point? Let's just play professional lacrosse and go ham. And just keep pouring it on, as we hopefully will find ourselves with a better sense of what this team can end up doing if you just keep pouring on the offense. Because, geez, at this point, all gas, no brakes. Keep pushing at it. I am really curious to see how much anger is going to start to peel over here for the Dallas Stars, because this is now 2 games in a row down by multiple goals. And if you want to take in the Paul Maurice quote of just hit him again and again and again until by game 7 they'll have nothing left, it's really feeling like if the Dallas Stars are going to win this series, it might have to go to 7 games. But again, this is very early. You know, I've been an Oilers fan for far too long to be totally comfortable in how this will get broken down. We'll wait and see as these two teams recoup and get set for the second period back here in Edmonton. Game 3 of the Western Conference Finals, Oilers and the Dallas Stars. We are live from Ice District inside the stunning estate room, I want to call it, here at Atlas Steak and Fish inside the Grand Villa Casino. If you actually, when you come up the stairs from street level off of kind of just underneath Fort Hall, if you kind of zoop up into the space, you look upwards, and this is where we are. This is where we're set up. When Avry is back, we're going to reposition and do a little bit more like a stand-up so we can kind of interact here. But for the meantime, I think that we can safely say this is the most gorgeous backdrop we have ever had to put on this show here on Game Over Edmonton. You can rent this space as well if you have a very, very large group of folks you want to feed. Maybe it's a family gathering or a prom or something along those lines. This is a good space to do that. If you're just coming for a nice family dinner, you can't beat what they'll have on offer here at the newly reopened Atlas Steak and Fish inside the Grand Villa Casino. That'll do it for us here for the first intermission on Game Over Edmonton. We're going to take a quick break, and we will come right back and get you set and kind of recoup what I'm sure will be a fiery second period here from Rogers Place. When the Oilers score, we can feel the ground shake in here at Atlas Steak and Fish. So enjoy the game. We will talk to you at the second intermission here on Game Over Edmonton, live from Atlas Steak and Fish inside the Grand Villa Casino.